All right, so I don't know if this is how OBS always worked, but had a bit of a false start here because I tried to add a window capture source so that I could show some stuff from my Steam recordings, like so. And apparently, they've changed the behavior of groups in OBS. So, also my calibration is all messed up, so I'm gonna try and fix that real quick. So I resized it because you can see the edges are trimmed off a little bit because it's you can't full screen the recordings and screenshots menu within Steam. So it's always going to trim off 40 pixels. So I expanded it appropriately, the right aspect ratio, and then moved it basically 47 pixels to the left. And the knock-on effect of that is when I then dragged it into my folder, my folder of video sources and whatnot, it basically caused the entire group to start being offset. And couldn't figure out why that was happening, and it took me a while to figure it out. They also made it so that if the group is locked, you cannot, even if something within it is unlocked, you can't interact with it, so that was frustrating. Trying to move anything within the group is done by relative position rather than absolute position, which I definitely don't remember encountering before, so I feel like that has to be something new. Speaking of something new, I have finally gotten around to taking off the front panel of my PC, so hopefully that should cut down on crashes experienced during streams. And as you can see, we are back in Lies of P for a brief moment. We're going to show off some New Game Plus stuff. I don't have a specific order to this. I'm just going to go through my recordings and screenshots and talk about the things that I experienced during that run, and hope I don't forget anything. And while we're going through that recap, we are going to queue up a playlist of all the gold records and give that a listen. So let's do this. I already backed up my save. Oops. My save, so I can just reload all this afterwards. And the only thing I really did differently on my second playthrough was if you don't show the Stalker's Promise gesture to the Atoned, I think their name is, the stalker that stops you in front of the tram ride up to the cathedral, then you fight them, and that's how you get their mask. You get their outfit normally, but then later you can get their mask on your second run, assuming that you didn't get it the first time through. If you're planting the golden seed during the DLC, you can harvest that decoration for the record player. And we'll pop back into the game if we need to. Oh, I didn't think this through now, did I? Here, hold on. I'm just gonna drag this below everything else and avoid putting it in the group. There we go. And then I'll hide the game capture. There. This is such a pain. Anyway, so when you start your New Game Plus run, you the door behind Pinocchio's chair is it's still got the breakable wall in front of it, but it's got a sealed door that you cannot work past. I think I took this screenshot just because the foreshadowing of the Alchemist's Isle, because it's foggy, you can barely see it, which makes it all the more cooler when you see all the ergo flowing to it later. And like Cthulhu's had predicted, you can understand what the puppet bosses are saying on your second playthrough. Unfortunately, it's, as I predicted, it's pretty inconsequential. They are all being controlled by the King of Puppets, and that's all they talk about. It's just, we're doing this for the king. He's pretty cool. There is one moment that is kind of interesting that we'll get to shortly. But I didn't really talk about the implications too much of the ending of the DLC where Geppetto shows up. Now, I do think it's a little strange that it's unclear what happens with Leia's ergo, but obviously we know that Romeo becomes the king of the puppets, and it's also clear to us that when his ego manifests, he is ultimately trying to protect the humans from the carcasses, but Geppetto has Rule 0 in the Grand Covenant, and so he ultimately controls what Romeo is doing at the end of the day. And he basically needed someone to be the king of puppets to use as a scapegoat to cover up his scheme until the very end. And well, let me just make sure that this is going through. Yeah, it's going through in linear order. Because, like, if you don't tell Vanini Romeo's message, nobody really knows until the situation has been dealt with. And thinking about it further, like, the entire situation is that Geppetto is using the alchemists to basically vacuum up all the ergo in the city, in the hopes of bringing back Carlo, which I guess the more ergo, the more memories, feelings, humanity you can imbue within someone. And then I just took some random screenshots of the opening again, because it shows like people coming to Krot where there's already, like, these are very likely the alchemists, first discovering ergo. I take a whole bunch of screenshots of this. I still haven't looked into this symbol. I still think what it really just comes down to is, again, Simon Magus and the Simonians, or whatever that religion was I looked up. This was also a detail I never noticed before, that the parade master in his little cage on his back has a bunch of what I assume are human corpses dangling. Yeah. By the way, this is the gold record version of Chaotic. The last one was Shadowflower. Next up is going to be Fascination. These are again just remixes. I already don't remember which ones I actually liked, but before I went and redid the playlist here, you saw which ones I had. I don't know if I actually had any. I don't think I liked any of the gold records. I just took a screenshot of this because I thought it was interesting that what's called moon phase, which again also deals with time. But again, this kind of refers to, you know, turns back time when the boy was in peak condition. And it goes back to the stargazer, moon, meteors, whatever. Before I forget to mention this, there's like clearly there's a butterfly theme here. But what I didn't really pick out as I was going through it was the overwhelming theme of metamorphosis with the alchemists and the carcasses and the petrification disease. The petrification disease is basically turning people into cocoons, allowing them to emerge as quote-unquote butterflies, I guess. I took a screenshot of this because I never noticed the little white tiger buddy there. This is what happens if you perform the show-off clothes gesture while wearing somebody's memory. She just says that it suits you. For a moment there, you look just like... Forgive me, I'm rambling. When you get to my age, your memories are like good friends, just as distracting. And before you get to Giangio, you can still access this. I didn't show it, but in the train car, you, instead of picking a class, you can modify your build and whatnot there. You're also given the option to respec for free at the start of each New Game Plus run. You can also access the Saintess of Mercy statue, because it's in a little locked room with a door that you can't open. I just clipped this because I moved the camera when the Black Rabbit Brotherhood first showed up, and I wanted to get a better viewing of that. This, I think I just screenshot because I was like, there's got to be an Itchy Tasty reference in here somewhere, right? And this is the most obvious one. And this song is the gold record version of Memory of Beach. Yeah, Blue Blood, Pretty Cocoon, Blue Angel. It also makes you think, what if the angel wasn't an angel, but a butterfly alien of some sort? This is what the room looks like when you're there. And I never investigated this in my playthrough. Unfortunately, would have been better before the DLC came out. At the same time, this could have been updated through a patch, so that might not have mattered. But Rosora's message was, "Will you be my friend? Everyone is gone. I'm all alone now." And then that changes once you finish her quest line in the DLC. And again, even the Bridge of the Alchemists, just in front of City Hall, this is where you find Geppetto. We've got the same symbols and astrological stuff going on. I don't know if these are actually representative of planets orbiting the sun. I haven't gone back to review that Simonian thing, but yeah. The dialogue of the Watchman, I think his name was, yeah, the Scrap Watchman, was interesting because he's actually enraged because of all the children that are being petrified. And with the dialogue, I kind of get the impression that this might be the ego of a child, hence why he wanted to be friends with the neighborhood children. And yeah, there's even this scratched text that says friends. I looked into this. I found it very... So I ended up using the Death's Talons during my second playthrough. I found it strange how even leveling up technique to S, the complete elimination of motivity from the scaling actually resulted in a net negative. So I feel like if they're going to do anything in the sequel with the handles, the handle altering, they need to either they need to do something, because like as it is right now, there doesn't seem to be any benefit to syncing all your everything into one stat necessarily, because the scaling for a second stat helps a lot more than having no scaling and putting all your eggs in one basket. I don't remember why I took this. Might have just been when I was at the soft caps before I started leveling up on New Game Plus. Oh yeah. So we got and this is Proposal Flower Wolf. And it's just in Korean. That's the difference. So this was the gotcha tube where this guy here crawls up to distract you from the fact that these guys are crawling along the ceiling at you. And I thought that was really incredible, because before I thought it was just a bunch of dudes hanging up there, and they just fall down. But no, they are crawling at you, but your eyes are drawn to the dude that's climbing up, and so you focus on him and target him, and don't see any of that going on. So that's really well done. So again, another puppet boss. Just reverence for the king. And yeah, the Atoned is basically like, yeah, I'm gonna dismember your leg and arm to teach you that you shouldn't have done that. And then she makes reference to the cursed angel's wing and being able to hear it. Now here's the most important thing that you learn, not from a boss. This is the army of puppets being sent from Vanini Works to the cathedral. And remember, the King of Puppets is an offshoot of the hotel on Rosa Isabel Street. This is effectively the end. Like this loops back around to Malum District with the Black Rabbit Brotherhood, right? So this is effectively the end of the cathedral path. So this army of puppets is actually being sent to eradicate all monsters born of the petrification disease and to protect the humans. But yeah, I think I actually recorded the audio for this. I'm actually gonna... Can I pause? Oh, the song's about to finish anyway. That's perfect timing, actually. Now we're moving on to like a music box version of Lisrim. Now let's stop that for a second. And I have to juggle all these windows. Give me a sec. Mute game. So I don't recall in the fights. I do think I clipped the fight with Romeo, so we'll have that in a moment. But I don't think you could really make out, at least not over the combat noise, the English speaking, except for this particular moment, hence why it seems so important. And I find that really interesting because there is clear footage in the opening. I don't know if I screenshot it. I should probably mute that so we don't get jump scared later. No, I don't think I did. But there is a shot of like the puppets attacking the humans. So I wonder if they just lack the capability to tell the difference between someone that's just contracted the disease and an actual carcass. I took a screenshot of this because I noticed that certain weapons, unfortunately, mostly stabby weapons and special weapons, so nothing I could use with my dagger hilt that I like that was both slash and stab. Some of them have a natural crit rate instead of like an elemental bonus. The claws actually have that, which is one of the reasons they're so strong, in addition to their moveset, which we'll probably have some footage of later. Again, more alchemist stuff. This is me taking a shot of Andreas as I started to notice that cocoons are a running theme. This is also where the and then the roots erupting like Simon, and the the ass-powered railgun in fact comes from the cocoon as well. And again, just all this stuff going on. I think I just took a screenshot of the bunny mark for myself. This is just, I wanted to record this cutscene with a different cosmetic. Started wearing the, yeah. But yeah, I started wearing the emerald glasses, because I grew to like them, and glasses change a lot about a character's face, so I think it was the wise choice to not go through the game with those on, but I definitely enjoyed having them on in my second playthrough. But yeah, Ma, just for clarification, so this boss charges up a giant railgun, and then it does an ass slam attack from the recoil of the kind of like when a lot of like railguns do like a big like discharge and they expel a huge canister, except he smashes his ass on the ground. So I was joking that it was an ass powered railgun. Yeah, and interestingly, without having to complete chapter 9 with the corrupted parade master, you can go to the DLC as long as you've gotten it from a previous the DLC item from a previous playthrough. You can just go straight there as soon as you reach the Path of the Pilgrim. Again, cocoon. I take a whole bunch of screenshots of random cocoons. This is the gold record version of Nightmare, by the way. And this is our buddy. I wanted to take a look at all of the like grotesque monsters that were a part of this chimera. So we got like a wolf, we got a baboon, got a crocodile, zebra. And then over here we got an anteater and a hyena. And we'll come back to this in a second. I recorded my... So New Game Plus is... So the DLC is actually quite challenging. And I don't know if that's necessarily because I did the DLC before like reaching chapter 9, but you also don't really get any meaningful defensive upgrades until the last area where you get the last piece of armor, which is the only piece of like basic defense that is better than anything that you get on your first playthrough. So it almost kind of feels like the +1 armors on New Game Plus are really just a benefit for people that didn't get the best armor, because they're still heavier. All the +1 and +2 items are heavier than their counterparts. Yeah, for the most part, the DLC was the only thing that was really harder than the base game, and especially the last two bosses. The final boss of the DLC does not scale as much compared to how difficult it was on my first attempt. And it only took me like three tries to beat him, compared to the first attempt. Although I went into it with the claws right away, of course. And next song is the last one, "The Clear Blue Sky." By the way, the second last boss, Lumakio, is actually the hardest one, just because bosses have more health and they deal more damage. And while for this game, because it's all about learning their attack patterns and parrying, that's why the difficulty doesn't really increase much between the playthroughs. However, his entire boss fight is around parrying him, because he fights with a rapier. You don't really get any meaningful windows to attack him. Like when there's an opening, you get 1 or 2 attacks max. So his fight is really... Hey, Blue, welcome on in. You've caught me in the middle of of kind of a breakdown of a playthrough of a game I completed recently, so no gameplay happening right now. If anybody's concerned about spoilers for Lies of P, you have been warned. Of course, if you need to take care of yourself, get yourself something to eat, drink, get some rest. I know it's pretty late. Take care of yourself first, but if you are down to hang out, I'm going to be rambling about some post-game stuff, so I'm not sure if it's going to be the most interesting to you. But how did Power Wash Simulator go? The sequel, Power Wash Simulator 2, in fact. As I get back to what I was rambling about. So yeah, second last boss of the DLC is just very much a parry challenge, and wait until he's staggered, and that's how you do most of your damage. And you gotta just conserve as much health as you can before the second phase of the fight, where you gotta deal with the decay, and that is also not easy, because with the decay status, pretty much anytime you take damage, you need to back off and heal, or else the decay might legitimately get you. And that is not a fight where you can summon a specter to help you. So I legit got stuck there for like an hour and a half maybe, until I just got his patterns down. Yeah. I feel like Power Wash Simulator is something that I would enjoy if the presentation was a lot better. But that's just me. Because I can absolutely understand the appeal, but it very much looks like a Unity asset flip. Yeah. Even though they've added some really fancy DLCs like the Final Fantasy VII one and stuff like that. Yeah, so on New Game Plus, you start getting some larger crystals of Ergo, like the Ergo Crystal of the Eternal, which drops from that really difficult dual-wielding flame puppet boss in the Carnival. They say that there are people who have eternal lives. These people are human, but have hearts of Ergo, which I feel is a teaser for the sequel. And this is Rosara's reaction to being given the Ergo Crystal of the Eternal.
Oh, I feel light as a feather, like I could float to the world's end. Here, Rosara has a gift for you. It's another treasure I found on my trip.
What a good kid. All right, is that... No, Clear Blue Sky is still playing a little bit. All right. Yeah, I was concerned about that. I think I just clipped this because it's cool. This is just another run back for the final stagger attack on the Anguish Guardian, and just maybe so I could get another look at some of those details there. Because yeah, when he slams the ground here, his skull breaks open But before that, you can clearly see he's got like another face here behind the eye socket. Very cool design, even though a lot of it is just bleh. Let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, there's a mini boss that I completely forgot to go back. So on the back side of the lighthouse, so they get you with the breaking staircase. So you're kind of locked in here. This might be a bit louder than it needs to be. There we go. I'm not going to pretend that this boss fight went well at all. You can see I've busted out the free parry grindstone. Yeah, he's got like a couple different ways of going into command grabs, and I was just not learning this guy at all. But my major strategy for New Game Plus was using the heavy attack on the claws, which allows you to move while spinning. And there are several P-organ upgrades that buff up your ability to deal increase stagger damage when hitting an enemy from behind. So I'll usually spin behind enemies and just slash up their back. Yes. Unless you're playing Marvel Rivals. Like playing Marvel Rivals again recently, definitely whenever I see a Jeff player, there's like a 90% chance it's like a child or someone who's just started playing the game. Like, I feel like he's the mascot for that game, and everyone gravitates toward him. Not that I can blame him, but it's just a lot of the Jeff players I see that I get the impression are just starting out just do not heal. And I'm not even being like the facetious, is like, oh, he's not healing me enough. No, they just are not healing. Yeah, and the one downside of the claws is it does take a moment to trigger the charge attack. But it also lunges forward a good bit. I mean, I would say it's the other way around. He's a healer that can do DPS. But same difference. But yeah, I do think it's cool that the shark bursts out of the that corpse there. And this just leads into a little back door just outside the lighthouse. Which again, you'd think I would have remembered this and gone back to it. Yeah, but at the same time, having 1.5 healers is still not great. is the problem. This was just another main menu that I don't think I saw during the playthrough. And yeah, this is Buddy Boy. So this is picking the golden rose. I'm going to mute the record player.
Oh, look at it. It's so beautiful.
And I think I read the description. A golden rose that miraculously bloomed from a seed planted long ago in the garden. It may be used to decorate something in the hotel. However meager, the boy's fight transcends the boundaries of time and alters fate itself. A golden tribute to the stories left behind, beyond the infinite repetition of time. Okay, those are... no, doesn't look like there's more dialogue. Decorate the gramophone. The gramophone now holds a cherished memory. But yeah, the problem with Jeff is that I think he is... So, he cannot be a solo healer. I, like, 100% agree with that. But as one of two healers, he definitely needs to pull his weight. But he is the character that most attracts new players who don't know what they're doing. So, unfortunately, you're... Like, when you get a good Jeff, you can tell. I had one match where I had a really good Jeff that was pulling their weight, and it was great. Until they used their ult and then failed to spit me out while we were in overtime and the enemy team was about to win, and I was playing Angela and I couldn't tank while he just devoured whatever was in his stomach and just held me hostage. But aside from that, he did great as a healer. I agree, but Guardians of the Galaxy are weird because I don't think they appeal to children. They're trying to appeal to our generation with 90s nostalgia. And I don't think Rocket is anywhere near as popular, especially Star-Lord, are anywhere near as popular as Jeff. I think that's just what it comes down to. Also, okay, so I remember being annoyed that I didn't see this this trap here, because up until this point, the only trap I really got hit by was the one in the ankle deep water, and that was the only one. And so I'm looking at the ground here. I'm like, where's... I mean, I went like straight forward, and it just manifests. You always have to trigger a trap. But yes, I also found this really interesting, that the gold coin fruit, Jianjiao is not able to handle it as an immortal, so there's something going on there. Maybe suggests that it's a different source or a competing source of immortality that resists each other. I also think I took a screenshot of this. I believe I made reference to this being a... Yeah, I brought up the whole Snow White thing, but she makes reference to that riddle guy, the king of riddles, guiding her here. And there doesn't seem to be any indication that the apple is poisoned. So maybe if you screw up one of the answers for a Trinity key and have to give it to what's his name, he'll talk more about it. I also, when I was going through the playthrough, I was speculating that the golden threads that allow these enemies to deal disruption damage were like caused by the King of Puppets. I was completely wrong about that. It is specifically these spider enemies. While the spider enemy is alive, these characters here, these like ballerinas, they will walk like zombies and deal disruption damage. If you kill the spider lady first, these strings go away and they start running at you, much more active and like chasing you down like running zombies rather than like, you know. So it's interesting to have those two different shifts, and that again, these sing to cause disruption, but their strings also, The strings also give a massive defense buff to the ballerinas. So they become a lot tankier and act as a defensive shield for the spider. So I think that those enemies are really, really cool in their design. Kind of wish I realized more about how they worked in the moment, but I figured it out on the second playthrough when I had more time to study them. So yeah, very, very cool. And yeah, they become complete pushovers without the disruption buff.
I have to kill you to stop it all.
Yeah, okay.
There's no other way.
Yeah, so we do get proper. Again, I must be wrong about the like Foco and the Parade Master and the Scrapped Watchman. They must have had English dialogue, just got lost in the combat mix. But yeah, here is Romeo again, but this time we can understand him.
I have to kill you to stop it all. There's no other way.
And I do think it's interesting how he's now convinced that he has to kill you. But I suppose he may have realized that Geppetto's plan kind of hinges on him. And not that Sophia is actually helping you to thwart Geppetto's plans. And I get some good parries in there. Yeah, the issue with the claws is the second hit of the charge attack that triggers the stab.
This is what real freedom feels like. Thank you, Carlo.
Oh. All right, what else we got? Another screenshot of, again, these are cocoons. These are the ones that spit out the just disgusting monstrosities that are covered in decay. I found it interesting that Ergo is represented as a star here. What is this? Oh, this is me taking screenshots for reference.
How did you find this place? Those guys' blood. I don't know what's inside.
So you get alternative dialogue if you avoid the trap.
When the trap's empty, so are my pockets.
Nothing changes if you go back down there. Oh yeah, there's also a letter from Klaus that appears right beside where he stands on the table after beating the DLC. Collector Klaus's Hotel Review. As a world-renowned collector, I would have been negligent if I had not left a review of this establishment. I hope this helps inform future guests of the state of this hotel. Rating 4 out of 5. Although dingy and lacking basic amenities, this hotel is still the safest place in all of Krat. An addendum is scribbled at the bottom. This truly reads like a proper monthly landmark guide, wouldn't you say? So here's a attack I never saw from the Corrupted Parade Master that's... Ooh, nasty. That's all. So unfortunately, I got impatient here. This was right at the trigger point for the schnoz. So I triggered a humanity increase from listening to a record. And then I think there was a sound effect that played. Yeah, the little... I was a little annoyed that I didn't get to see it actually transform, but it sounds like it might actually have an animation. Yeah, this is also just something that I didn't quite remember, that she's the daughter of Valentinus. Again, Leia's adopted. She's the biological daughter, and she is the one that appeared in the painting before her hair turned blue. And again, to just reiterate, again, petrification disease, theme of cocoons transmogrifying into metamorphosizing into butterflies, and that'll probably be a motif that shows up in the sequel as well, so that's something to keep in mind, and something that I think is really interesting. Why it didn't seem to work for anyone else, but it does for the listeners, we'll see.
Please teach me how to use a sword. You're a legendary stalker.
So this is the altered dialogue for the Leia flashback after completing the DLC.
Cat are so annoying. Gemini, get rid of them. I'm off.
I remember. I do. Leia was my...
And I think that dialogue also didn't happen on the first playthrough. Gemini's dialogue, I mean.
So, it really was you, Carla. After going so swiftly where I couldn't follow, you came back. I never got to say farewell. It may be too late now, but I'll say it regardless. I was glad to meet you. And thank you. Perhaps someday, if we can cross the bounds of time, we'll meet again. Farewell, dearest Carla.
Oh yeah, there is a thought, and of course this is a reference to her realizing that Pinocchio is Carlo at the end of the DLC. There's also a thought of the nameless puppet possibly using her ergo, and that might explain why it has all these different combat styles based on the various stalker boss fights. She is the legendary stalker, although she has her own preferred technique. Sure, I'll hydrate. I actually have a drink that isn't depleted for once. Yeah, so that's kind of the only connection I can make, per se. It doesn't seem like her ego ever manifests, unfortunately. But again, that's the problem with the DLC being made after the main game. Would have been hard to kind of work that in there. But also makes sense why, for some reason, Geppetto isn't satisfied with Pinocchio's existing body and needs to transfer the heart into the nameless puppet. I don't know what makes that puppet so special, but I mean, it might be loaded up with all the ergo already. That could be part of it. But again, more of that symbol. The Ouroboros snake. I also took some screenshots of some various hand references. I just like the look of this little guy. These little foot statues with eyes. And this is if you are wearing Leia's clothing from the DLC and speak with Arlecchino, this is what you get.
Oh, that attire. Yes, I remember. I do. I never thought I'd see it again. It's fate. Fate. Of course. I have regrets. In mere moments, I would have completed my magnum opus. Just imagine the art that would have been born, If only I'd been able to rip her arrogant face to shreds. A rose painted in blood. A sculpture carved from the exemplar of humanity. Just thinking about it gives me the jolts. Oh, that reminds me. The uninvited guest back then. It was you. How could I have failed to recognize you? Sincere apologies. I hope you understand, my friend. You see, I lost a lot back then. But you remember, right? It was all thanks to you.
Also really like the way that the light is interacting with his hair. Just the color gradient on the tips. You know, I had to do it to him. And then again, little hands holding the torches on the Isle of the Alchemist. And this is where I left my stats. I maxed out capacity. Got technique to 45, motivity to 25, vitality and vigor to 43. Advance really doesn't do anything if you're not using the salamander dagger. And then I beat difficulty 4 with the Black Rubber Brotherhood. Difficulty 5 is still super rough, and I think it will still be even after New Game Plus 2. But we're going to take a little look at the potential benefits of that in just a moment. But first, we've got two boss fights to witness. Yes. So this time I'm also going in with the unlimited parry grindstone, so that's going to make things a lot easier in phase 2. Oh, the one thing that's really different about him is his stagger threshold. Instead of being around like 40 to 60% damage, it's closer to like 70%. It's like we already would have staggered him.
I swear I would never be late again. Won't lose anyone else. No, Romeo. No, not anyone.
It's like that's the one thing that really seemed to have changed in New Game Plus for this boss fight. It's a good feeling not having to worry about timing any of this. Hey, I got class 2. Yeah, a lot of this fight definitely does still come down to having Leia drop aggro. I would still really not want to do this fight without Leia. In fact, I think I looked into it, and I don't even think you can start it without her. I might be incorrect on that.
I will kill you if it's the last thing I do! Right here!
So sick. Dodge that command throw. Oh, and unfortunately, at no point in my New Game Plus run did I end up using a Spectre, so I can't really report how much of a difference it makes. I was tempted for Lumacchio, but that's not an option for that fight. There we go. And then last one here, I have the Marchiona.
You're not the puppet I was expecting.
Just because it's my favorite boss fight.
Who are you?
And I actually remember her name now.
None who enter this greenhouse may leave with their lives.
I'm not going to pretend that it's the most skillful showcase, because I mean, part of the clause is just being able to go ham. But you know.
Fine adornment for my room.
Oops, I apparently went back a bit too far when flipping this. Whoops. I thought I had clipped from the start of the fight. Oh well.
To think I became anxious.
Oh, what's weird is that if you are like freshly loading the game on a hard disk drive, some stuff just won't load, and you'll be able to walk through boss doors, and like dialogue will start before the fight's even begun.
None who enter this greenhouse may leave with their lives.
But I decided not to actually initiate a fight under those conditions in case it prevented me from leaving afterwards. So I ducked in and then I exited before the door finished loading. And then her dialogue played like 3 times. It played like once while approaching the door, once after entering the door, and then again after starting the boss fight. I didn't think to clip it because I don't consider that a real bug with the game.
Scream for my pleasure. Can't get away quick enough, can you?
I tried. also don't recall if I saw that on the first playthrough. There's at least like 1 or 2 attacks I don't think I ever saw on my first run.
None who enter this greenhouse may leave with their lives. How humiliating that you should see the power I was saving for you.
And I still feel like the best part of the game is this first part of the DLC. And then in the DLC, I think the Guardian boss is great. But aside from that, I think just owning the base game gives you enough of an experience. So if anyone were wanting to play through this themselves, I say at the end of a very spoiler-filled recap video, at the end of my playthrough, I would probably only recommend buying the base game. And honestly, that's an opinion that holds true for I seldom like DLC additions to games. I feel like I would rather have like a short standalone thing rather than having to integrate. Like again, this is the same cost as this game. So I got this on sale for like $40. The DLC cost almost $40, but you're getting like half the length of the game. You're getting a lot of quality at the very beginning, but then I feel like you don't get quite as much narrative payoff. As I said before, I think if you're looking for more narrative content, the DLC is kind of a letdown in that regard. But for gameplay content, again, 2 really cool bosses, 2 fights with stalkers that are, well, and Arlecchino, which are very cool from the perspective of these characters that were named that you never got to see in the flesh. And I know that is a draw for a lot of people that play video games. Not necessarily for me. As I feel like they're getting to meet them didn't really add a whole lot to the experience. Alright. So, I think that is us all caught up on that. So now I can get rid of this window capture, bring back the game, unmute the game, and I also ended up getting all of the boss amulets on my second run, because why not? And then we got the Atone's Mask. Instead of guiding people to refuge, she took them to the land of the dead. I will go on record and say that I think at this point this game is in my top 5, maybe not my top 3. I mean, that's still Hi-Fi and Gravity Rush, and then I'm not sure what my third would be. Etrian Odyssey is a pretty easy one, but like this is certainly close, if not tied with. But I do think I prefer this to Elden Ring, despite Elden Ring's sandbox. So yeah, so phase 6 that unlocks on New Game Plus, you can recover weapon durability with a perfect guard. You can further enhance the effect of pulse cells. Oh yes, natural HP recovery, I wouldn't say it becomes a problem on New Game Plus, but it does become noticeable for the first time. Also, let me just switch back to this. And yeah, I basically just lowered weapon durability across the guard, across the board. Lowers fury attack damage, pretty nice. And I found that with the claws, I was doing a lot more dash attacks. So I invested a little bit in the ambush damage. But yes, let us take a look at Phase 7. And we can also get a shot of the puppets attacking people in the opening. I think that plays right away.
Can you hear me? Geppetto's puppet. We need your help.
No, maybe not. So this is what I mean, where it's blocked off, but you can break that, and then there's still a door behind it.
Here you are. I've been looking all over for you.
Jimmy will restart soon.
I see they got Jiminy too. But we have to hurry.
I really like the
My
green
name is
light
Sophia.
reflecting off of
Please come to Hotel
off of his hair.
Krat, and I'll explain what's happening. Jiminy, please escort him to the hotel.
Oh yeah, also now that I realized that my crash issues are
Let's get
not
you out
based
of
on
there.
game performance, but in fact
Find
my
something
CPU
to break
overheating, I've started playing the game on the ultimate quality, whatever. Although I'll be honest, not much of a difference compared to medium. Like medium still looks like absolutely fantastic. So here we go. So lightweight reduces your weight threshold by 1 category. And it's worth noting that even with maxed out capacity with my particular loadouts, unfortunately I'm not able to get down below 30%. More amulets, and then Fury Attack Guard. Can block Fury attacks with Guard. And that is a huge game changer, which I assume is probably going to be necessary for how hard things are going to hit on New Game Plus 2. So those are kind of whatever. Complete recovery of guard regain upon guarding a fury attack. That's a huge one. Does not consume stamina when a perfect guard is successful. And then a bunch of other things that provide buffs to charging Fable. Partially charges Legion when using pulse cells. and another increase to grindstone effect duration. So again, my stats are super juiced, so let's just take a look at what the game's first enemy looks like. Okay, never mind. Never mind, I'm too strong. At the start of New Game 1, or New Game Plus, they actually were tankier than I expected. But yeah, that'll do it. I think to get the cutscene that I was anticipating, I'd have to go all the way to the hotel, which I don't feel like doing. So, and you also have a number of plays indicator there, which is cool. So let's actually go to the title screen. Okay, no, so I don't think that was particularly unique. But yeah, so that will finally do it for Lies of P. I don't think I'll normally do a lot of these miscellaneous segments too often, but this is a game that I care a lot about. Yeah. All right, but yeah, this game is very special to me. Really was not expecting it to be. But yeah, it certainly made an impact. So with that, we'll move on to the main event of tonight's stream.